Listen closely, watch them all. Stand in their shoes, they're walking tall. The skills are balanced, stories unfold. And as we watch, truth will be told. Voices of justice, sound loud and clear. Voices of justice, you'll find the best here. You'll get a sneak peek behind the bench. Not what you're thinking or might expect. Judges and lawyers, officials too, here to tell their story to you. Voices of justice, sound loud and clear. Voices of justice, you'll find the best here. You'll get a sneak peek behind the bench. Not what you're thinking. Expect.
Hello, everybody. Oh my goodness, we are live. We are live. There's the camera. It's a new camera in a new spot. And I'm very excited about it because I finally can make it work and I don't look like an Oompa Loompa because that was not the goal. Anyway, here on the Jen Hardy Show, things are real. They're real and different. And you know what? Well, that's just how it is. And so today I thought we would talk about the whole Menendez thing. There's a lot to unpack. I mean, we could really talk for days, or maybe we won't talk for days at all. Maybe we'll just talk for minutes about it. I don't know. Let's see what you guys want to talk about. But here's what I can tell you. See, I was going to go up to the prison and try to interview them. But then I realized, that's not what I want to be doing, actually. There's a lot of places I could be traveling, and that's not one of the ones I want to go. Number two is what happened to them was horrible. It was. Do I believe something happened? I do. Do I believe what they did was self-defense? I don't. Self-defense is like, something's happened to me right now. That's self-defense. Self-defense is not premeditated. Premeditated is a whole other ball game altogether, and that's what we're talking about with this case. So, were they young defendants? Yes. They were young defendants. Were they minors? No, they were not. They were adult children choosing to live in their parents' house because, let's face it, their parents had a lot of money and there was a lot of fun to be had in the house. And when they did do the thing that they did, they got a lot more money and had a lot of parties and bought a lot of nice things, which kind of contributes to the fact that it wasn't self-defense. So, do they regret what they did? Absolutely. I bet they did. Yeah. Doesn't mean we get out of prison, though. I think a lot of people that did bad things regret what they did when they're in prison. But sentencing is sentencing. So it will be interesting. I know that there's been a stay on it because, it's when I was researching this a month or so ago, they were waiting for Gavin Newsom's report to come back to say, hey, should we let the Menendez brothers go or should we keep them there? And I don't understand why they were going to go ahead with something when it wasn't back yet. And so now there's all these holdups and whatever. You know what I've learned about the law over the course of the past year, because I've been doing this for a year now. I've learned more about the law than I ever thought I'd want to learn. And I've enjoyed learning it. And I cannot wait to learn more. But sometimes legal things don't seem to make sense to us because there's a lot people learn in law school. That's why, they go for so long and do so many things. And we're not all going to understand the nuances of these cases. We're going to understand what it seems to be on the outside. We're going to understand as much as humanly possible for people that weren't there when the acts were committed. But we're not going to understand exactly what was going through people's minds, like the Menendez brothers, which we're talking about today. So, I was in on their family's press conference, and I will tell you, they've done a lot of great things since they've been in prison. They have. They've led some groups. They've taught some classes. They've really been model inmates. Okay. So does that mean that they should be released early when their sentence said without the possibility of parole? I don't know. You don't know. We don't know. We don't get to make that decision, do we? So anyway, so that's what I was going to talk about today. And we can talk about that today. But there's so many other things going on out in the world. There are so many other things going on that I thought, well, we'll kind of sprinkle that in, unless it's what you just like to talk about all the time. maybe we could talk about some fun stuff too, because let's face it, isn't it a little bit too serious out there? Guys, it's a lot too serious out there. It is for me anyway. So, yeah, it's a lot too serious out there for me. So I thought we would lighten it up a little bit and sprinkle in some Menendez brothers things in the middle and just kind of get to know each other. What do you say to that? I say yes. Here's a fun fact. I'm the same age as Lyle Menendez. That is so bizarre. I can't be that old. No, I can't. But apparently I am. So I recall this and being their age. And yeah, how old were you when this happened? Were you even born? Because probably most of you were not even born yet and have no idea about the Menendez brothers except the Netflix special. So there's that, which honestly I haven't watched because ironically, I don't like watching that kind of stuff. I don't like anything creepy or scary or violent, although we talk about court here. But I like to do things like get to know the judges. So let's talk about that because Judge Rosie's episode was supposed to come out for my members yesterday, but here on the Jen Hardy Show, well, life happens. That happens. It happened yesterday and it happened again today. And I'm hoping to get it out before midnight so I can say it's coming out today for you. Yeah, because technically it's done, but I'll be honest, it's not done greatly because I've got approximately 5 videos and 9 podcast episodes to edit that should all be done by tomorrow. Myself. And they're not going to get done, guys. They're not going to get done. Oh, plus a huge video from our event. So being that as it is, if you're somebody who likes to edit video and you just want to volunteer your time, let me know because I am looking for some interns and some assistants and happy to take you on board. And until then, yeah, I can only work 18 hours a day. I got to sleep a little bit. So Rosie's episode is going to come out, but since it's not out, let's talk about it. Let's talk about Judge Rosie Spielin-Gonzalez. A lot of people have been talking about her. Whew, have they been talking about her? They've been trying to ban her. Do you know they've been trying to off her as well? Yes, that's true. It's illegal to threaten a judge, and she has been threatened all kinds of ways. And let me tell you something. Okay. If you're upset with somebody for being mean to someone else, and then you wish them to be, unalived, isn't that worse? Colin Raid. Hey, everybody. Oh my gosh. It's been way too long since I've had a Colin raid. And since, you know what? I need to learn how to raid Colin. That's what I need to do. Hey, Clip Clop. So we're talking about Menendez brothers today. We're also talking about a whole bunch of other stuff. But let's talk Menendez since you guys are here. What do you guys think about this case? Do you think that they should be let out of prison? Because originally it was, I know, Colin Dave just texted me, Colin just raided. Welcome, Colin. Welcome, everybody. I miss you so much. I got to tell you what, it's been crazy. Hey, Julie's here. So Julie, Colin has just rated us. So Colin has this incredible channel that you really, really, really can. So Dave, can you put the link to Colin's channel in there? Because I want everybody that's here to go over to Colin's channel too, because he's amazing. And he does different things than I do. And he does it differently than a lot of people do. Hey, good to see you. Oh my gosh. And it's really cool. And what's nice about Colin is you get to know Colin as a person as he talks about courts. And also, I've met him in person, and he's a cool person. So that's really cool. Anyway, we were talking about Menendez. So Colin, I don't know if you were born when the Menendez thing happened, or you were little. You weren't. I don't think you were watching it at that point. I'm Lyle Menendez's age. We were talking about that. How crazy is that? So long story short, for those of you who don't know, but you all probably do, they did things to their parents, called it self-defense, but put away without the possibility of parole. Now it's 30 years later, and oh, hey, Al B, I love that. So now they want to get out of prison because they've been there for 30 years. And they're like, hey, you know what? We were young, bad things happened. It was self-defense. All right, Colin and everybody from Colin's group, let me know in the chat. Here's what I think. Self-defense is this. Oh no, something's bad is happening to me. Chung, chung, chung. I'm fighting back. Self-defense. To me, I don't believe that self-defense is something bad has happened to me. I will plot and plan and have a premeditated thing happen. Then I will do away with some people. Am I right? That's premeditated, not self-defense. Is there something called premeditated self-defense? I don't think so. I realize they were younger, but they were not minors. I realize bad things happened. I do believe bad things happened to them. I absolutely do. But I don't think it was self-defense. And I don't think the fact that they played nice in prison, well, should get them out. But what do you guys think? I want to know what you think. Because me just sitting here, not as a lawyer, doesn't really do much if we're not engaging in conversation. Am I right? So that's where I stand on it. Um, yeah, I, Cynthia, if somebody doesn't agree with me, I would love to hear from you, and I would love to hear your reasoning, not to argue, like just to hear your reasoning and let it stand. Because clearly there are more than one viewpoints. I will tell you that I was in their family's press conference about a month ago, and it was fascinating. They do have a lot of positive things to say. The whole family is behind them. Cynthia, that's awesome. We're in California. Are they from? I believe it is the LA area because they were similar to where I was. I was in the LA area. We had, let's see, the 90s were a big time. We had O.J. Simpson trial. We had, I believe, yeah, they were there. They were like in the height of like Brentwood or whatever, which is one of the wealthiest areas. We had the Hillside Strangler. Fun fact, I almost moved into that house as a teenager. Yes, it was horse property on top of a hill. It was beautiful. My mom had horses. Well, I mean, our family, whatever. And my mom wanted that house so bad. And she's like, hey, it has all new carpet and paint because, they had to cover this stuff up. And we almost bought the house. We went through it like twice as a teenager. It was horrifying. I'm not going to lie. It had been cleaned up, but it was still, who wants to live in that? And finally, my dad put his foot down and he's like, no, we cannot be the family from that house. But that's a true story. So anyway, lots of things happened in LA. I think it just gets more press because back in the day, they didn't have the internet and they had a news thing that was, the Night Stalker. Yeah, I mean, oh my God, I don't know what happens out there. It's a lot. Now I live in Florida. We got the Florida man. So we got a bunch of little stuff everywhere. There's that. Do you know why? You want to, okay, here's a legal thing for you because, you guys like court. Are you ready? Do you know why? So people say you can put in your birthday and the words Florida man and some kind of arrest or whatever will come up no matter when you were born. There's a reason for that. And it's not because we have more crime in Florida. True story. So the thing in Florida is this: everything is open. There's no hidden records. Well, I mean, I'm sure of like minors or whatever, but every court case, every arrest, everything is public record. Everything's public record. And so if, like, let's say I'm having a party and my neighbor calls the police, that's public record. I can find out what neighbor it was. Let's say somebody gets arrested for something. It's public record. Let's say I email the courthouse because I have a question. Public record, along with my email address. Yeah, no privacy here in Florida, but everything's an open book. And that's why it seems like we have more crime because everything is out there for the public. So there you go. All right. So Julie says when she was 18, a serial killer escaped from prison here. Oh, tried to break into your flat. That's terrifying. Yeah, that's more terrifying than almost moving into the house because at least the guy was put away when I was there. Yeah, that is really scary. So for those of you who don't know Julie, she is from Australia. She's living in the future. See, we're still Thursday the 17th. She's living in Friday, guys. So ask her what happened because she already knows. Dave, you got to watch what you say. Good night. Anyway, so you guys aren't commenting. Tell me, what do you think? What do you think about all the things? The Menendez thing. I am so curious, and I would love to have a conversation about what's going on. So, so for those of you who don't know, they did things to their parents very brutally. It was quite horrible. And then after it happened, they tried to get away with it. They got the inheritance. They had a lot of big parties. They bought a lot of nice things, like millions of dollars. Like they really had some parties, guys. A lot of parties, a lot of fun. They did a lot of big things, which is part of the reason why not so much self-defense. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like really bad things are happening to the point where you have to do something. Maybe you kind of lay low for a little bit. You know what I mean? Not celebrate. I don't know, just saying. Now, a bunch of stuff has come out proving that the dad probably did do some really horrible things. Should the dad have been put away? Yes. Not put away in a casket, but put away, absolutely, yes. But there were other ways to go about it. Although they're also saying that because it was the 80s, 90s, whatever it was, that things that happened against children, like what their parents are being accused of, well, they weren't treated very severely back then. Yes, or when they did claim they'd been abused in a nasty way, but the penalty for people who did that to children back then, people didn't take it so seriously, and people didn't want to talk about it. They kind of brushed it under the rug because one of the Menudo guys said that the dad did it, and they kind of blew that off too. They want to get away with their parents, but also have their parents' money. See, that's all right. Miss Orchid Blooms. That's the thing, is this. They were 18 and 21. They were old enough to move out. They didn't have to live there. Why did they live there? I mean, one can only assume. We don't know, but they were fully functional humans who were going to school and going to college. They could have moved out and lived on their own. However, they would have lost the big house and the money and all that stuff if they weren't right there. Potentially. Who knows? I don't know. I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not part of the family. I wasn't in the room. All I can say is what I see. And you know what? We're going to talk about it. It's a public thing. And I think it's just a hot mess. It is. Interesting story is that Lyle Menendez, they each got married in prison. I don't know if you know this. And Lyle Menendez and his wife have since divorced. They were together for a long time. They say that they're still friends. That's great. I think that's great. Now, Eric's wife, however, they have been married for a very long time. They're still married. And she had a 10-year-old daughter when they got together. And the mom really, really advocated for the daughter to call Eric dad, and he's been her dad, and she's like daddy's little girl visiting prison. She's now a grown woman and fighting for his release because it's really important to her that her dad, Eric Menendez, not biological dad, but dad by whatever, gets released. And I, to personally, as just a human study, find it fascinating. I just do, because one might think they would not put their child in that position, but people do, and they make decisions every day, right? So, yeah. So Julie says, when you live most of your childhood in survival mode, it can drive you to do things you wouldn't normally do. I'm not saying I support that. Exactly right. I mean, do I think that if they lived with that for so long, and some of the things that were said in court that I won't repeat here because it's YouTube and there's children watching, but some of the things that they said, because there was no internet then. So now there's internet. You can look up everything and know all the little details about all the things, right? But back then there wasn't. And so they couldn't have known some of the details of what happens. You know what I mean? I don't know. There was a lot to unpack about what happened. And I don't doubt that the abuse that they stated happened. Personally, I don't doubt it based on the testimony that was given by the Menendez brothers back in the day. And it was horrible. I mean, there is no excuse for that. Let's just call it as it is. And so since that, if let's say it did happen, if it did happen for a decade or what more, would it be right for them to now get out because it's been 30 years? I'm just thankful I'm not a judge. You know what? To be honest, this is not a thing that I would want to judge. It's not. There's a lot of twists and turns and ups and downs and things that, and testimony I honestly don't want to have to hear. I don't care hearing about those kind of things when they happen to children. Let me tell you, it happens way too often, and it's very sad. And I find it very disturbing. Even on like shows, I cannot watch shows that talk about it. Certainly something that's actually factual. Fun fact, not about that, but did you know that we have a friend who was on the grand jury? This has just popped into my head because I'm talking about listening to the cases. Did you know that when you get called for jury duty, there is the potential in the United States for you to be put on a grand jury and go once a week for a year and get paid? I didn't know that. I feel like if more people knew that that was a chance to happen, more people would go to jury duty. Just saying, because people want to get paid and you get paid for that. So they got meals, and then they said if they wanted to go early so that they could be there, to spend the night, they would have paid for a hotel and everything. How cool is that? So next time you get called up for jury duty, if you're here in the US, instead of fighting it, maybe go and see if you can be a grand jury person. But the reason that I was thinking of that is that he said a lot of the cases were things against children, which is very sad. Like, I think he said a third of them, which seems like a lot of cases of things against children, if you know what I'm saying. Also reminds me of Judge Boyd's children are a suitcase thing. Not a slam against children, but yeah, if you haven't heard that one, it's really interesting. Which I guess I could tell you right now if you haven't heard it. Stop me if you have. But that children are a suitcase, and because apparently a lot of moms, like single moms, go out to the clubs and then they go and meet a guy and bring him back when they have children and go to work the next day and leave the guys there that they don't know alone with their children. Don't do that, guys. Don't do that. No, 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 no. If you're a single mom, you wait to introduce people to your children so you know he's a good guy. Let's do that and make sure he's going to stick around. Let's not do the thing. Yeah, because apparently it goes badly, as I believe one would assume, right? Anyway, so Menendez brothers, thumb up in the chat. Should they be released from prison? Thumb down in the chat. You don't think they should? Let's make it easy on you. One way or the other. What do you think? Because my opinion, for those of you who had just joined us, is bad things happened to them. True story. They did. Really bad things happened. But not self-defense. That's my opinion. And I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a judge. And I thank God don't have to make that decision. I don't want to decide if somebody stays in prison or not. I'm not gone to law school. So for the rest of you who have not gone to law school, or maybe some of you who have, let me know what you think, because my chat is, not working. Okay, let's see. Dynamics of abuse were at work, especially if you've been abused from a young age. Yes, you know what? Absolutely agree. And yeah, Charles, I'm with you. I also love the picture. Love it so much. Makes me want to do the dance, which I won't because I'm awful at it. So set parents says, oh, that's so interesting. Yeah. You know, we could get into all kinds of numbers. There's some really crazy numbers, like about school teachers. Just saying, lots of that going around. Too much, if you ask me. Yeah, which we won't get into the deep dive on that one. Hey, for all of you who are here, because there's a lot of you here, check this out. Judge Rosie's episode is coming. I know a lot of people are upset with Judge Rosie because of the court case and the thing. There was the guy with autism and everything. Can I tell you something? It wasn't what it looked like, which is crazy. I've got kids with autism. I was upset. You were upset. Everyone's upset. I get it. But when you hear her story and then you listen and then you rewatch it, you're going to see something different, which is really, really weird to me because I was ready to, go toe to toe. But anyway, yeah. And did you know that not just that, but before that, number one, she got Judge of the Year. Her Reflejo Court got Court of the Year. She was followed by the New York Times for a year and then had a report on her. And they're doing a documentary about her in Reflejo Court. All that being said, she also has been getting like death threats and all this stuff at the same time. Like she's ridden a huge roller coaster. It's been nuts. Don't know if to vote, but DV scenarios where the only option is to take care of the abuser while they're asleep, because when they're awake, there's zero chance at defense. None of your business. I love that. And you know what? Absolutely agree. In the case of somewhere like, especially when it's a spouse or whatever, because there's a lot of times you cannot get away. Except here's what, in my opinion, and I'm not arguing your opinion at all, because you know what? You're absolutely right. But they were old enough to leave. They were 18 and 21. They could move out. They could go somewhere. They could live at college. They could live with their friends. They could get an apartment together. And yet they stayed. So, there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot, but maybe they had to stay because of the abuse, you're right. And that's the thing. When you grow up being treated like that, and you grow up with somebody telling you that it's normal to have them treat you in a certain way, ask me how I know. You go into your adult life allowing people to treat you that way and living a weird way until you can actually break free from it and change your life, if you ever can, because it's hard. So absolutely absolutely have a lot of sympathy for what they went through, because I do believe that they went through things that were unpleasant. That's not even a word, to say the least, right? Absolutely did. Don't know about the rest, more focus on the generalities. Yeah, yeah. So long story short, with the Menendez brothers, because I followed the case, I'm actually the same age as Lyle. I was there. I remember it. The accusations of abuse appear to be true. Let's just go with that. They're true. Let's just do that. Give them the benefit of the doubt that bad things happened. Right? Let's say that they did. The only this is what I'm saying, okay? Self-defense is, oh my gosh, you're in my room, something bad is happening to me, or you're in my home, or you're in my space, in any location, I'm going to defend myself, and something bad is going to happen to you because I'm defending myself. That's self-defense. However, you've been doing something bad to me. It's not happening right now. I am a fully grown adult that can choose to leave this place, and instead I choose to off you. Premeditated, not self-defense. Just saying. I mean, that's just my opinion. Now, I wasn't there. I don't know all the details. That's just what I'm saying. But I love hearing what you guys have to say, because we're not the judges. We're not the attorneys. We're not making the decisions. We're just having a conversation. And you know what I like? I like having conversations about things with people that we don't have to have the same answer, right? Isn't it time that we all can have a discussion and not have the same answer and still get along and still be friends? I think that's really cool, because it's almost come to the point where we can't have discussions about big things anymore because people get mad and storm off, and then they don't want to be your friend anymore, whether it's on social media or in reality. And I think that's sad. Okay. Well, actually, I will say though, Mr. Hardy, that here is what has come out that I've heard, is that, and this is true, back in the 80s and 90s, not that long ago, when this particular type of abuse was reported, not a lot of people cared. Not a lot of people did anything to stop it. And they just kind of slid it under the rug because they didn't want to say those kind of words out loud. They didn't want to think about it or hear about it, and they let it go. Think of all the instances that we all know in our personal lives when that happened. Back in the day, it did. Whether, and I mean, I was going to say whether it's right or wrong. It's wrong. They shouldn't have done it. And grown-ups should have stood up for children that they didn't stand up for. I mean, that's just the bottom line. Because honestly, if that would have happened, I mean, one of these brothers wrote a letter to his cousin. If somebody would have just stepped in, right? The kid from Menudo, well, he's a grown man now, but he came forward and said, hey, this is happening. Everybody ignored it. Okay, that was the Menendez brothers' dad. He was doing something to one of the bands because he was a music guy, right? People knew, and they let it go, which then leads back to did they have an option? How would they ever get out of there? But yeah, so anyway, that's a lot of me rambling about that. No sound. Okay. Do I have? I think everybody else can hear me sound, right? I think. Did we lose sound? I don't think so. Anyway, all right. So what else? What's going on in your world today? I'll tell you what is going on in my world. A lot. Yeah, Julie's saying, as someone who endured a nightmare childhood, she's still loyal to her family because that's all you had and all you knew. And that is what we do, right? That is what we tend to do until you can break free. And hope to God that you can someday break free, because it's not easy. You can hear me. Okay, good. All right. So to those of you who are joining us, we're talking about the Menendez brothers, and I would love your opinion. Thumbs up. They should get out. Thumbs down. They should stay in. Let us know, because, inquiring minds want to know. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a judge. I am just a person with a podcast called Voices of Justice, where we talk to people that are lawyers and judges and elected officials. And yeah. No, they were not. They're actually, well, they both married women in prison. The women were not prisoners, the women, or whatever. They were on the outside. One of them, Lyle, did divorce his wife, and Eric is still very happily married to his wife that very much loves him. And I don't know if he actually adopted the daughter or they are just very close, but yeah, he has a very loving family that just wants to see him out. And just so all of you know, because I was in the press conference with the family, they all want to see them, like grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins. Everyone wants the boys out of prison. None of the family wants them to be in. Like, we're talking even the brothers and sisters of the parents, guys. Everyone wants these guys out of prison. So I think that says a whole lot. When I was in that press conference, there was nothing but an outpouring of love for the two gentlemen. So there's that. And since they've been in jail, they have done so many incredible things. They've started groups, they've counseled other prisoners, like, they're doing positive stuff. So, that's what they're saying is, hey, this thing did happen. We're not lying, like, we know, like, there's no getting around the fact that it happened. But since then, we've done some good things, and this is why it happened, and whatever. So, and if they were sentenced today, their sentence would have been lighter because of their ages. So what they're trying to do is they're trying to say, hey, how about we pretend like it's now when they were sentenced and get them out of prison? That's what they're trying to do. So Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, is doing this study to see if it would be better or worse for the public if they were released. And so that's where the little hiccup is. So anyway, that's what's going on. And yeah, so if you have opinions, I would love to hear them because, yeah, I don't know, because it's just me chatting right now. And yeah, what have you guys got going on this week? Is there anything besides watching court that you're doing? I am taking care of a daughter who just had surgery. That's been intense. And I'm getting ready to release a Judge Rosie Spiedling-Gonzalez interview, which is intense. A lot of people are fired up about her right now. And there's a lot going on. She's got great things. She's got horrible things. It's just a mishmash of all the things for Judge Rosie. And I also did a second interview with Judge Simpson. What? Okay. You know what, Mike Webb? Not going to lie. May not disagree with you. But be that as it may, that's what's holding this whole thing up. So, oh, good God, Craig. I don't know. Too soon? Oh, I don't know. I'm just going to let that one stand. Right. Do you really? Okay. So yeah. So here I never go, like, I talk about like, one side of the political side or the other. I'll let you all do that in the chat because that's best for the chat. And it's best for me to just keep my mouth shut about that. There you go, Philippians. There you go. I don't know if I'm biased, but let's see. The surgery, let's go back to the surgery. The surgery went well. She is going to be great. She is not great today. My daughter had a massive surgery that it only lasted 3 hours considering, but 4 days in the hospital and we're just barely walking. So she's going to be good, but it's been a lot. We just have a lot here going on in the Hardy House. We are starting a new company. We are starting a new thing. There's huge things coming, and you guys are based. Okay, not biased. I thought that was okay. Based. Thank you, Fub, for letting me know. That's awesome. And Philippians 4:13, who cares? Well, yeah, it's just something to chat about, isn't it? Because this channel is about the justice system, and that's something huge that's going on in the justice system. And as you know, when a big court case happens, it sets a precedent for other cases. So if they get their sentence overturned and they change it, that is going to open the floodgates for other prisoners. This is something, or for other inmates to know. So thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah. So that's another thing to consider with all of this. We should only go by law, which is only made political by those who cannot. Yeah. Well, I think, yeah, we should just follow the law. Exactly. Because once you start changing the rules and you set these precedents, is a slippery slope, because then how many other people are going to come out of the woodwork and want their sentences to be overturned? That's going to be a whole thing, right? So there's that. All right. What else is happening? Let's give you a little update here. Oh my goodness. In July, I will be going to sorry, it took me a second. The Mississippi Bar Association is having their state meeting, and I'm going to go to there with a retired Supreme Court justice. And I'm going to get some interviews to bring to you. I'm going to do some live things there. That's July. Next month in May, I'm going to Germany, and I'm going to London for the podcast show, and I'm going to try to interview some barristers there. Barristers, is that what they're called? They're not lawyers. Anyway, I'm butchering that word, I know, but I do want to go and get some judicial wisdom from England. I think that would be a lot of fun. I'm going to be live streaming for you guys from there with some peoples. It's going to be really good. It's going to be interesting, and it's going to be different because let's face it, things get boring doing the same thing over and over and over. You know what I mean? We got to shake it up a little bit. Because also, do you know that every judge I've interviewed has come back at least twice? Or, I mean, has been on at least twice now? That's really cool. Every single judge has come back, and that makes me very happy. Or is it because I'm too gentle with my questions? Somebody has said that, and it may be true. But also, I don't really want to tick off people in the judicial system. I have no desire to do that. And they're really nice people. I can honestly tell you that every one of the judges I've interviewed genuinely has a good heart for humans. And I think that is really cool. So, anyway, all right. So, you're analytical and reasonable. However, Judge Angela. Oh, tell us about Angela Tucker, Julie. I'm very interested. Julie thinks that they need to be investigated. And I don't know. Is that a person in the US or Australia? Either way, I will do a deep dive on that, and we could talk about it on Tuesday, so I can have an educated discussion. All right. So for those of you who are stopping by, Menendez brothers, we'll get back into that now. What do you think, if you are just passing through, Menendez brothers should get out of prison? Thumbs up. They should not get out of prison. Thumbs down. What do you think? Have you seen the Netflix series? I have not seen the Netflix series, but I watched what happened in court and all that stuff. Oh my gosh, as it was going on, and it was a lot. It was really heck a lot back then. It really was, because we're talking the days when we didn't have 10,000 channels and YouTube, so there wasn't a lot to watch. So we had to watch a lot of Menendez brothers, and we got to see the whole thing, and which is why I have an opinion. I'm not saying my opinion's right at all. That's why I'm asking you for yours. Okay. Oh, was not trying. Overheard what she said. Was here. Oh, wait. Oh, I see. Now I'm not seeing all of these things. She's the judge that reduced Carmelo's bond and put him on house arrest. Oh, okay. Well, I will look into that, and I will get back to you. I have not been all in all the news lately because I have been completely at the hospital and taking care of my kiddo here. So, yeah, we're looking up the big things and then not so much looking at the little things. So anyway, so Mr. Hardy thinks they should not get out. Let's see. What do you all think? I want to know. Yeah. How interesting would it be? I don't know. It would be I don't know, personally, after watching all the things and hearing all the things and whatever. But anyway. Oh, her. Yeah. All right. I got to check this out. Also, we have reached out to a lot of judges that are here on YouTube, and a lot of them, they don't want to be interviewed because there's a lot going on. Let's face it, in the YouTube world with the judges, and like when Judge Boyd got, she had to go on trial. She was on trial, I believe, twice now. There's been a lot of stuff going on with the whole YouTube court. So that being said, and knowing that y'all want to hear from people that, we don't hear from all the time, who else would you like to hear from? Because we're about to reach out to some more people. So we're like batching it, we're just going out to talking to a whole bunch of people. Now, I was supposed to be going to Texas, and I was supposed to be going up to Michigan to see some judges, but I did my daughter's surgery thing. I had to stay here, and then I'm going to Europe. But late summer, early fall, the traveling's going to start. We're going to start doing some things, and it's going to be really cool. So who do you want me to go see? Who do you want to hear from? Because the opportunities are now growing. And we're getting sponsors, we're getting funding so that we can do this sort of thing and make it really worth your while to tune in and subscribe and do all that stuff. So yeah, you let me know, and then I can go do what you want, because really, if I'm not talking to the people that you want to hear from, there's no point in having this channel, because I'm not doing it for myself. If I want to just sit and talk to myself, I don't need to turn on a camera, right? So there we go. Anyway, all right. So Let's see. They should not be able to profit from. Yeah. See, I'll be. That's right. Someone remind me if Slayer's Law can be used outside of prison. Ooh, what is Slayer's Law? See, this is great. I learn all kinds of things and I absolutely love it. You guys are amazing. So, and also, you know what we could do? We could bring Hillary Kane back on. She's the attorney that was with me about a month ago. She's brilliant. Now, technically, she's a trademark and copyright attorney, but I think her IQ is like off the chain. So she knows about all kinds of things and she can answer the questions. What we could do is when this thing with the Menendez brothers starts moving forward, we have her on and then she can actually answer your legal questions and talk about the things that I quite honestly don't know. So I'm interested. I'm an interested party. And this is my judicial system that is being affected by the choices that are being made because they're setting precedents here that will continue into the future. So yeah. All right. See, Julie is saying Judge Middleton declined an interview, which I understand why, but it would have been interesting. Oh, I would love to interview him. And I'm not going to lie, if he decides to retire in the next few years, I will be hopefully getting an interview with him then. That's my goal. I don't know when he's going to retire or if he'd be willing, but I'm going to be down there. And there are some really interesting sheriffs. There's one, and I cannot remember his name for the life of me. Here in Florida, I want to say Perry, but that's not right. And then there's Wayne Ivy that's in my county, and I'm really trying to get through to his PR person, man. She is like blocking, but I'm going to get in there. Don't worry. And what I'd really like to do is actually do a weekly or monthly thing with Sheriff Ivy. He has got a personality that is off the chain. Oh my gosh, it would be fascinating. You all would, honestly, you'd love it. Whether you like him or not, it would be fascinating. He is something else. He's the one who does Wheel of Fugitive, which we were playing here and I need to bring back because he spins a wheel like Wheel of Fortune and it'll land on somebody that they're trying to find. And when whoever it lands on, he tells you their name and their background and what they're searching for them for and everything. And then he's like, hey, you better turn yourself in because your family and friends are about to because we're going to give them money. Like it's this whole thing. He catches a lot of people and he does not play. He does not. There's also some Texas sheriffs that like put their people in the stripes and put them out on the roads and do all the things. What do you think about that? Let's find out and let's go talk to them and see how that's going. I also would like to go do a tour of a prison. Yeah, I can't believe I'm saying those words, but I would like to do that and like bring you inside. I think that would be interesting. Have people explain, because if you're watching court, you're seeing people get sentenced. Where are they going? What are they doing? What's it like down there? I mean, Judge Boyd has told us what it's like at the Bexar County Jail. Let me tell you something. Yeah, it's nasty. There's a lot of stuff. Like your clothes are not your clothes. Your chonies, your underwear, they're not yours. You put them in the pile. They all get washed. You get whoever had them last when they come out of the washer. What do you think about that? I don't think it's very nice. And like toilet paper, you ask for as many sheets as you want from the guard. Like this does not sound like fun. Dave, we're not going to El Salvador and visit that prison. No, we're not going to any kind of country outside of here. No, thank you. Except like in Europe, yes, but there's some prisons that are scary, guys. People don't like our justice system. I get it. And there's certain people who, well, they've been given a hard time by our justice system. And I'm not going to lie. I mean, that's horrible. But I've talked to a lot of people from all over the world, and they all say that ours is the best. So, and that's all I know. All I know is what I'm told and what things are like other places. And yes, Julie and David, ew, and not, no, it's disgusting. So also, we did this homeschool thing because, we've homeschooled our kids. So when the older ones were little, we brought them to jail with the whole homeschool group and we toured the jail. And then the police officer had them sit in there and shut the gate or the door, like the door, the clunk. It was only a minute or two that people were in there. And let me tell you what, they were freaking out. And none of those kids, not one of them ever ended up in jail. Just going to say. So you got a kid thinking about doing the wrong things? Give them a little tour, because I tell you what, it will scare them straight. It really would. There's just nothing quite like it. No, you don't want to do it. So anyway, that's another thing that I'm thinking about doing. But if there's something that you'd like me to do, let me know. I will not do what Mr. Hardy said. But yeah, This being able to meet the Supreme Court justice. Now, she's a state Supreme Court justice, not a federal Supreme Court justice. I don't think we're quite at that level yet, to be quite honest, but one day we will be, and we will be talking to them. But who else? I think a Supreme Court justice would be pretty cool, even if it's on the state level. What questions do you have? Let me know. I'm going to go ask them. That's the thing. I don't have a problem with asking. And, I ask them weird questions sometimes. Like, if you were a superhero, what would your superpower be? I know. I also ask them important questions like, why did you become a judge? What do you think about, whatever? It's fascinating to me. Each one of these judges has a completely different way that they got to the bench. I don't know. I guess I thought that they always knew that they were going to be a judge, and there was only one of them that ever said that to me. Do you know who it was? Ooh, guess in the chat. Who do you think out of all the judges, that I've interviewed, there's 5. They just keep coming back, the same ones. We got Judge Rosie Gonzalez, Judge Stevens, Judge Fleischer, oh my gosh, Judge Simpson, and Judge Boyd. Which one of those 5 knew from the time they were a little person what they were going to be? Okay, now, while you're thinking about that, I'm going to read a chat from Al B. The Slayer rule ensures that individuals who benefit from the decease of another, especially through inheritance, are not rewarded for their action, but each state has its own statute. Yeah, see, that should definitely be a thing. You should not benefit from that. And that's one of the things. Let's round it back to the Menendez brothers, as we are supposed to be talking about today. They did. They clearly did. Like, literally from like day one. They established themselves in the house. They did the things. They got the inheritance. They had the parties. They bought the stuff. Like, they really did. And I know when you've gone through trauma, especially as a kid, you keep going through it, you make weird decisions. I know. But those decisions, well, they were kind of monetarily driven. So just saying, was that self-defense? Is it self-defense when you do something and then, you plan it in advance, you benefit from it, you go out and have a lot of parties with the money, buy yourself a lot of nice things. Is that self-defense? I don't know. So without the particular kind of abuse that is alleged of the parents, I would say I don't think anybody would back that at all, right? I'm just saying. Kind of adds a little different nuance to it. But at the same time, when you just look at the bottom line, is that self-defense? I'm sorry, guys. I just have to say no. But that's just my personal opinion. Like I said, I'm not an attorney. I'm not a judge. Thank God. Don't want that job. Also, I think going to law school would drive me nuts. I know Colin was talking about it. Other people were talking about it. Yeah, Soul King. See, absolutely. They were grown adults and they could have moved out, but they didn't. So that's the other thing, if they were children, whole other ballgame, whole other story. If they were not over 18, absolutely. Okay. I mean, the younger one was just 18. So, he's teetering on the edge of that, but legally could have done, whatever. So, people make decisions, right? Like Judge Boyd's umbrella was not a mistake. It was a choice. It was clearly premeditated choice. Do you get out of prison for that? Hey, can I tell you what? People have been out of prison a lot sooner on a lot worse charges. Just going to say they have. So, I mean, all things being equal, there's that. So, sometimes I just can't understand how things work. And here's another thing. Let's say that you and a buddy both get charged with the same offense. You get charged with the same offense, but in different counties, even in the same state, different counties, same state, same laws. One of you could go away for a very long time. One of you could get off free. It depends on the judge. It depends on the way they read the law. It depends on, all these different little tiny things. What happens to who, how, and when. That's our justice system. Still, I believe, the best in the world, but open to error, as everything is that deals with humans, right? Because humans are an imperfect being. We are. And so, it's really hard and especially if you're not there, and I was just talking to somebody about this. It was so interesting. Even let's say there was 2 people there when the Menendez brothers committed the crime. They may remember two totally different things, because my daughter and I were just having this thing. We were just saying what horrible witnesses we would be to anything, because we both have a very clear recollection about an item in our home. I clearly remember telling her to put it in her desk drawer so that we could find it later. And she clearly remembers the same conversation where I said I would put it in mine so we could find it later. So, this is the kind of thing that happens when people try to remember things. Adults would have, could have, should have, trauma victims get educated. Okay, so Catherine, are you saying that they should be released from prison? Because I'm very open to everyone's opinion. Like I said, my opinion is just absolutely my opinion. Absolutely is not the law. And do you think that when you're trauma victims that you should? Because like in England, if you're a trauma victim, if you're abused by your spouse, you don't go to prison in certain circumstances when you do away with the person who's been abusing you. I'm trying to say these in words that are friendly for everybody. So that is a defense. So, the thing is, Catherine, and I'm not arguing with you at all. It's just law, right? I'm talking about law. I'm not talking about like trauma-informed care, because back in the day when they were tried, there was no trauma-informed care. There were no trauma-informed decisions. People just didn't give it the weight. And that's the thing, right? They did not understand nor really care at that point what happened to people when they had trauma. And so, yeah, there's that. So if they were found to be innocent as it was self-defense, and the scenario could be argued invalid. That's right. Because if it's self-defense, right, then that doesn't apply. So, like I said, I wasn't there. I don't know. None of us know, because we weren't in the room. And so when push comes to shove, they're going to be in front of a new judge. They're going to have a new decision, or the same decision, by somebody who has studied the law and knows the law and can make the best decision possible based on our laws. It's not me. It's not you. And thank God it's not me. I don't want that job. But this has been a very good and lively discussion. And I appreciate all of you who have contributed to it, because like I said earlier, we can agree, we can not agree, and that's okay. I really believe that it's time to start talking about the things that are a little bit tougher. And we talk about them openly and honestly, and accepting that everyone can have an opinion and those opinions can be valid. Now, you can argue that there's certain things that's not true for. But what I'm saying is just basic things that are happening in our society. Shouldn't we be able to come together and have a discussion without it getting hot, and without people getting upset, and without people turning away and saying, I'm never going to talk to you again? I'm just saying. Now, there are hot button issues. We're not going to talk about those. We're not going to talk about the ones that completely divide people, because I'm not here to stir up an argument. But I'm just saying, things like this, where we can all, we can learn from other people, because sometimes you think you have an opinion that's never going to change. And then you talk to somebody who explains it from the other side, and you think, oh my gosh, I finally get what the other side is saying. Whether you change your opinion or not, I find those discussions invaluable. I love them. And I think if I don't start having them here, well, then I'm not helping everybody get the opportunity to have them, right? Because there's not that many more opportunities left, because everyone's afraid to talk about anything that may be polarizing. So we're not going to say, is it better to be conservative or liberal? We're not going to say, is it better to be Democrat or Republican? None of that stuff. Not what I'm talking about. Personally, I pick no side, but just the kind of things that make our society run better or not run better. Let's talk about those things. You know what we're going to do. So, Judge Rosie, you can have your opinion on her. I know. I promise when this interview comes out, you'll have a lot of things to think about. That's all I'm going to say. You may still keep your opinion. You may change your opinion. And if you don't know who Judge Rosie Spielin Gonzalez is, subscribe to this channel so that you get this thing, because I'm telling you right now, you can unsubscribe as soon as you get it, but you're going to want to hear her. Whether you like her or not, she's got a lot of incredible things to say. And she is going to come back with a group of people, and we are going to have a roundtable discussion with some people that are completely polar opposite on the political spectrum. And we're going to talk about some things in a calm and reasonable manner. And we're going to show how no matter where you stand politically, we're all people who can get along. So help me God, it's going to happen. It is. And we're going to do it in May. We're not going to do this live because I think that it may get interesting, but we will do it as a premiere so you can all watch it with me. I will cut as little as I can out of it, just dead space, basically. And we're just going to really enjoy this conversation because these are the conversations that I believe we need to have. So, and if you don't, that's okay. You don't have to, but you can watch it if you want, because I think it's, I'm telling you, the group of people we're bringing together is crazy polar opposites. And yet people who just want better for our society, whatever better looks like to them, whatever peaceful looks like to them, they just want good. So there we go. Anyway, yeah. So there we go. It is 9:59. And we are going to go in just a minute. You love debate. The law is filled with what ifs. And then we can look at standards and elements of laws and how they apply to everyone. Exactly. There we go. And your favorite is tort law. You know, that's the most confusing for me. It really is. But, you know, and yeah. Julie, yep. Julie, I agree with you. All those things are factors even as an adult, you know? There's a whole lot to take into consideration. So, Colin, you're here. We are talking about the Menendez brothers and whether they should get out or not. Thumbs up, Colin. You think they should get out, or thumbs down, they shouldn't? I don't know. I'd love to know what you think. We've had a really rollicking, is that a word? Conversation. And people have been in here talking about all kinds of stuff. So, yeah. So the bottom line, what have we learned? Well, people have a lot of different opinions. Trauma matters. Guys, if you've been through a lot of trauma, it's really hard to get through it. If your family has taught you that bad things are okay, they're not right, and they're not, and you don't deserve it. I mean, that's just really, Julie, mwah, ciao, have a wonderful lunch. I am off too, and it was wonderful being able to talk to all of you today. Thank you so much for joining me. Mwah. I love you all, and I will see you on Tuesday.